In every organization, a documentation system is indispensable because it is evidence of an effective and efficient management system. On the other hand, that system requires effective and consistent control. Why so? We will learn together in each of the following sections. Part 1. What are the concepts related to documents? Part 2. How to classify documents in an organization. Part 3. How should document control be implemented? Part 4. How should internal documents be presented? Part 5. What is the method of measuring effectiveness and efficiency in an organization? And now we will start with Part 1. What are concepts related to documentation? 1. Information and data. First, we need to learn about the difference between the concepts of data and information. When someone receives a message that interests him, it will be data for him. After receiving the message, he will have to go through a process of making it understood, and to convey it to others, he must decode it so that it becomes his information. When information is transmitted to the next person, the previous person's information becomes the next person's data. Just like that, during the transmission process, one person's information will be another person's data, and after data processing, it will become information ready for continued transmission. Or in other words, a person's information is the received data plus their feelings about it. Therefore, the information is not always 100% accurate compared to the data. There is a fable: a hen was standing talking to another hen, when a gentle wind blew, accidentally blowing away a tail feather that had just come off the other hen's body. A third hen stood in the distance and saw it. At another time, the third hen was standing next to a fourth hen, when a gentle wind blew, making it remember the old story. And he began to tell the story that the second hen had 2 of her tail feathers blown away by such a wind. Just like that, the story continued until one time, there was also a gentle wind blowing. The second hen told the story of a certain hen that she knew, also blown by a wind, until all the tail feathers are gone. So have you recognized how important it is to receive data and process it into information? 2. Characteristics of verbal language. Imagine yourself standing at a street intersection. The traffic light is working normally. When the traffic light is green, 2 cyclists from both sides are rushing to cross the intersection. Because they were both in a hurry, they collided with each other, at which time the traffic light turned yellow and then red. At this time, they began to argue about who was wrong and who was wrong. However, at this time, neither of them can provide evidence of the traffic light to say they are legitimate. People used to say, 1. It is, words flying in the wind, or 2. A strong memory is not as good as a faint ink stroke. Indeed, in every organization, the results of an action, operation, or operation are provided by evidence. Evidence will be the basis for making the right decisions, which is stated in the 6th principle of the quality management system. In other words, the requirement to provide evidence in writing is extremely important. 3. Written and oral information. Third, let's define together what are the types of information and types of information in an organization. In the structure of an organization, there always exist 4 levels from top to bottom of a pyramid, including 1. As a senior leader with the function of devising the organization's operating strategy. 2. Is an intermediate level of leadership with the executive function of managing the implementation of strategies given by senior leaders. 3. As a data management officer with the function of collecting data, analyzing data, and providing information throughout the organization. 4. Is the executive staff level, where tasks and activities are carried out to successfully implement the proposed strategies. For an organization to function and operate, it always requires the most important information, which is orders from leaders to executive staff, also known as top-down information flow, and the best is information. Written information confirmed by leadership. Because there must be orders, and only orders can make the machine run smoothly and in the right direction. When the apparatus operates and produces results, then those results must be reported to the leadership level, also known as bottom-up information flow, and must be documented information with confirmation of the person making the report. To evaluate the level of compliance with an organization's orders, people rely on a comparison between the level of the proposed order and the level of implementation of the report to calculate effectiveness. This will be discussed later. In Part 5, How to Measure Effectiveness and Efficiency in an Organization, in this series. While operating, an organization has many departments that require coordination and mutual support to complete tasks and also need to exchange information and data. This is called peer-to-peer communication and commonly requires written information with confirmation from relevant parties. If for some reason the top-down information flow or bottom-up information flow is not smooth, then a type of informal information flow, also known as bunch of grapes information flow, will begin to appear in the organization. That is, the heads cluster together, like a bunch of grapes, when the leader is far away, and it spreads out when the leader comes closer, and this is word-of-mouth information. And from here, is the source of all problems that give birth to child leaders or virtual leaders. So, the more you see how important written information is. 4. Purpose of written information. According to the International Standard ISO 10013:2021 on Documented Information Guidelines, the purpose of documented information includes 5 purposes. 1. Used to convey information. 2. Used as evidence of a result of something that has been done. 3. Used to share knowledge. 4. Used to preserve knowledge. 5. Used to describe a management system. This will be discussed in Part 2. How to classify documents in an organization, in this series. 5. Source and origin of textual information. Every organization is the same, it operates and exists in a society that is also operating together. A society includes all levels of administrative management organization of the state, unions, other economic, political, social organizations, etc. Therefore, to operate properly, every organization needs to follow 2 sources of written information. 1. External sources of information from relevant external organizations, and 2. Source of information within yourself. Information from outside has the following characteristics. 1. Are external regulations that require the organization to comply. 2. These requirements cannot be amended or supplemented. Meanwhile, internal information has the following characteristics. 1. Are internal regulations from leadership that require employees to comply. 2. These requirements can be amended and supplemented to suit current reality. Because of the differences in these characteristics, their control must also be carried out in different ways. This will be discussed in Part 3, How should document control be carried out, in this series. 6. Records and origin of records. In written information within an organization, there is a prescriptive type stating a requirement to perform a job, often called a document. The documents are often accompanied by instructions on how to record performance results for evidence, often called forms, checklists, etc. When a job is performed, data results are generated. Often the data is not exactly the same at different times. Therefore, the data must be recorded specifically and accurately at each time it arises on the form as evidence. When the data is recorded and confirmed for official release, it becomes a record. So, the origin of a record is the result of the implementation and compliance with specified requirements of a certain document, and it is a type of written information as evidence with different characteristics from documents. 7. Characteristics of documents and records. As stated above, we need to distinguish the difference in characteristics between records and documents. Document characteristics are: 1. It is a type of regulatory document that requires everyone to follow, so this feature focuses on controlling compliance with it. 2. Internal documents may be revised from time to time, so this feature focuses on preventing the inadvertent reuse of outdated documents. 3. Documents require being compiled, reviewed, approved, issued by competent authorities and applied in a long-term manner, so control focuses on ensuring procedures when issued. 4. Each internal document is only suitable for the organizational structure at the time of the organization issuing it, and it is the secret of that organization, so this feature is controlled in terms of accessibility and accessibility. Approach: use it. Meanwhile, the profile has the following characteristics. 1. Records are the result of performing an action, it is used to evaluate the effectiveness and efficiency of an entire system, so it requires accuracy in data as well as the time of recording. 2. Because records are evidence, the most important part of control is data preservation, it is not allowed to be intentionally modified. 3. Records are documents that are issued whenever data is generated. Many records are generated on a daily or hourly basis. Therefore, control records must be in the correct order and location where they were born. 4. Records are also secret about an organization's activities, most of which are controlled from access by competitors. Therefore, the most important control is who is allowed to access and use the records. On the other hand, there is also a conversion between documents and records as follows. When a document is used as evidence, for example to prove an outdated document was once issued, then the document serves as a record. There are also times when a record is used for research for another job, not as evidence, for example, using data A to predict the possibility of generating data B, then the record this serves as documentation. Above is the content of Part 1 about concepts related to documents to prepare for the next step in building, controlling and achieving the most effective document system in an organization. Next, we will continue to discuss in Part 2 about how to classify documents in an organization. Thank you very much for your attention. Try your best, don't give up.
Thank you for watching the entire video. Don't forget to like and comment as well as subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to receive more information and free videos from us.